And a very good evening, everyone. Terrific to be back here on the NTFA Footy Show with thanks to DLM Machinery. Plenty to get through tonight. We've got our regular segments of football around Tasmania. We've got plenty of things happening in footy right around the state. We'll bring you up to speed with a little bit later on in the show. Another club in focus with thanks to Harrison Agents. And this week, one of the best-known clubs in Tasmania, the Longford Football Club, and we'll have one of their stars joining us. And we'll also, speaking of stars, our women's segment, Abby Green's going to be joining us for that as well. And we have got a special guest joining us for that as well, with thanks to Cleanaway. But of course, first, as we do all the time on the show, it is time for our photo of the week, and this is an absolute ripper. A big thank you for sending this one in goes to Kylie Pern. Check this photo out. So Kylie is the regular photographer for the Bracknell Football Club. They took on Hillwood, and this is a mark in the reserves taken by Harrison Edwards from the Hillwood Football Club. Kylie has captured it, and that is an absolute hanger right at the very second of taking the mark. So we couldn't look any further. There we are. Good close-up grab of that one. Off the ground is Harrison. And Kylie takes out the 4-pack of crafty cuts with thanks to the Little Rivers Brewing Company up in Bridport and Scottsdale. So well done to you, Kylie. Your second win of the year. And, of course, what you need to do to be in the running, send us in your favourite footy pick, and we may just pick yours next week here on the NTFA Footy Show. All right, well, before we go to a break, we're going to check out how the men's competition is going. And let's take a look at the men's Premier Division ladder after last weekend's round of football. And it's at a very interesting stage at the moment. You can see there that the Hillwood Footy Club, they remain unbeaten on top of the ladder after a 15-point win over Bracknell. Now, Bracknell, preliminary finalists last year, they've slipped down to 6th place on the ladder. They've dropped their past 4, have the red legs. So they've got a little bit of work to do. Rochalee remains second, but only by percentage. South Launceston, the big improvers this year, their best win of the season. They really were pretty comfortable victors in the end. The scoreline may not have suggested that when they only beat Rochalee by 11 points, but it was 22 scoring shots to 6 in that one. Bridgenorth have moved into the top 5 after a thrilling 1-point win over Deloraine, but Deloraine's still in the hunt, but need to start stringing a few wins together. Scottsdale are in 8th. They haven't won since round 1. And great news for the Georgetown Football Club. With their first win of the season, they defeated Scottsdale in an absolute thriller by 1 point. And with thanks to the Georgetown Football Club and also to Josh Goodger, our cameraman who was down there, let's have a look at the last few moments of this thrilling contest down at Blue Gum Park. So big celebrations down at Blue Gum Park. Thanks to Josh Goodger for the footage there. And almost hard to hear the siren with all the car horns going out. A big celebration for the Georgetown Saints. Sam Cook taking that big mark there just before the final siren. Okay, let's have a look now at what's coming up. Round 11 in the men's Premier Division this weekend, and they are all on Saturday afternoon. Up at Scottsdale, they take on Longford. Bracknell. Big game for them against Georgetown, who will certainly have some confidence. Bracknell looking to keep in touch and get back into the top 5. That's at 2 o'clock on Saturday. Also at 2 o'clock Saturday afternoon, Deloraine are at home to top of the table Hillwood. And in the final match of the round, 4:30 p.m. in the twilight game, well, almost night at this time of the year, Rochalee are taking on Bridgenorth. That is a really important game there for both teams in NTFA Premier Division. All right, let's have a look at the ladder as it stands in Division 1 of the NTFA men's competition. And you can see there that Old Scotch are on top of the ladder. Last year's grand finalists, St Pat's are in second, of course, the reigning premiers, and they meet this weekend in the match of the day. Scotch undefeated, and they were too good for St Pat's a little bit earlier in the season, Scotch winning that by a couple of goals. Now, Lilydale are in third. Now, they are going along very quietly but doing well. They are sitting very nicely there at the moment. They've won their past 5, so doing it very nice. But as you can see, Perth right on their hammer. But have a look at 5th. Old Launcestonians have got that at the moment, but only one win separates 5th from 8th. So it is a very important round of football coming up. So a good opportunity for us to look at all the matches in Division 1 action this weekend. As we touched on, St Pat's, Old Scotch, replay of last year's grand final. That is up at St Pat's at 2 o'clock on Saturday afternoon. All matches at 2 p.m. Evandale are at home to the Meander Valley Suns. Old Launcestonians play Bridport. Important game, this one, for both teams with, as I mentioned, it's so tight between 5th and 8th at the moment, with Bridport sitting 8th. And Lilydale are taking on Perth out at Lilydale. Very important game there. Perth trying to get a bit of consistency again. They had a fast start to the season, I think winning their opening 6 matches, and they'll be looking to try and keep themselves clear there in that top 4. So that is what we've got coming up in the men's NTFA this weekend. Time for a quick break, and with thanks to Harrison Agents, it'll be our Club in Focus next.
Durable, reliable, heavy duty. Get the power you need from the people who know machinery. For sales, parts, servicing and expert advice, call DLM Machinery today or visit dlmmachinery.com.au.
In a 50 to Longford. But anyway, they won't care. They're going to get a handball out wide, and Franklin, well, he's got Akers here from 50. He'll kick it to the teeth of goal, off hands, over the back. Murphy Cohen, and that's just about it. Blows kisses to the crowd. That's 5. And it's going to make it very, very, very difficult for Rochalee. They trail by 20.
You always want characters in footy, and he's one of the better characters going around in the NTFA, and it was quite a day for him personally. 5 goals, but I guess more importantly, a big premiership drought broken. Luke Murphy-Cohen, welcome to the Footy Show.
Thanks, Rick. Thanks for having me, mate.
Good to have you on, mate. What sort of memories does that bring back? Have you watched it a few times?
Yeah, I won't lie, I have watched it a few times.
The whole game or just your 5 goals?
No, the whole game. We watched it the next day
yeah.
As a team and as a club. We watched the reserves as well, so... No, it was a very good day, that one.
A great day for the club, a 33-year premiership drought broken, of course, 1989. It meant a lot to so many people. Did you really grasp the enormity of it? I guess afterwards in the club, I mean, the change rooms at UTAS Stadium were packed. The club would have been packed. Did you really get an understanding of how much it meant?
Yeah, I think, believe it or not, we lost to Bracknell the year before in the prelim out at Deloraine, and that really hurt our group and our footy club. Obviously, I'd been there for a few years by then, but we knew leading up to that game how much it meant to so many people. You can see that photo there. We had great support on the day. Obviously, having our reserves in the grand final was really important for us too, and for our footy club. So, yeah, to break the drought, very important to a lot of people at Longford.
And there's Archie there. You can see, I mean, I know how much it meant to him. I mean, he's Longford through and through, and obviously getting the premiership flag there from Scott Rigby, the president of the NTFA. But how long do celebrations last?
Yeah, well, if you ask certain people, they lasted a while, but I think we packed it on a Tuesday about lunchtime, but it'd been a big few days by then. But even on the Saturday night, I think obviously a twilight game, go back to the club. By the time you get there after the game, it's quite late. So the sun was rising on the Sunday morning, and there was still plenty of people around at Longford, so it was pretty exciting.
I know the history suggests as well that Longford have reached the grand final a number of times, and I'm a lot older than you. I remember umpiring a couple of them that they lost back to back, and was much spoken about previous history.
Yeah, it was. It was mentioned internally. I guess for us, it was about just backing our system.
Yeah.
We knew that pressure was there. I think for us, the big hurdle was actually getting to the grand final from the previous years under Bo. Obviously, the team had gone really well throughout the year, and then at the final hurdle to get to the grand final, we hadn't made it. So once we made that, we felt like there was a little bit of pressure off.
Yep.
And then we knew the big Utah's ground would suit the way we played, so we could just go to work.
Absolutely. You touched on, I guess, the way and the passage of getting there. And tell us about the influence of Bo Thorpe as the coach, because he stepped down this year, and what a year to step down. But there he is there speaking to everyone on the dais there after the grand final. But tell us about his influence on you and, I guess, the club.
Yeah, so obviously I moved up from the south of the state 2021 or something like that. I've grown up around Bo, so we just had a brief chat at the footy club one day, and I was actually taken aback. We were having a meeting upstairs. It was early January, and there's probably 5 or 6 Longford senior players doing a bit of work outside, and he just said, that's what the club's about, that's what I'm trying to build. He was really big on trying to bring good people into the footy club and keep them there, not for 1 or 2 years, but have them stay at the club, and building the most professional club in the NTFA. That was his goal.
And what about you now personally? You've got that premiership. You're here and looking, no doubt, for another one. I mean, if we look at the moment, you're sitting 4th on the ladder behind Hillwood, Rochely and South Launceston. I mean, where do you see the club at? I guess we're at the halfway mark of the season. It is tight, but where do you see you guys at the moment?
Yeah, so obviously, like you said, it is very tight at the top. Hillwood are clearly the team to beat at the moment. They're undefeated. We had a close game with them out at home a few weeks ago. Where we felt like we really let one slip. But I think if you look at anyone in that top 4 or 5, even Bridge North clearly on their day can do a lot of damage. We took probably 3.5 quarters to get over them at home. So I think what's really exciting for the NTFA Premier League is that the competition's really tight. And if you don't rock up, you're going to get beat.
Yeah. Do you get that sense as well? We're seeing, obviously, there's a lot of changes happening with football, with the TSL, likely to finish there for at the end of next year.
Yeah.
We've already seen a number of Launceston players in particular that have made the decision to switch, some going back to, I guess, their home. Are you seeing that level? Do you think the level's gone up again this year?
Yeah, definitely. I have a few arguments with my mates from down south. I believe the NTFA is the best competition in the state besides the state league. I know the Northwest League won't agree with that after beating us in the rep game, but I went and watched Rochely and South on the weekend, and to have players like Jordan Cousins, Jay Blackberry running around at local level is pretty exciting for local footy fans. Absolutely.
Look, it's going to be a great year, and I know going back to back is always a big motivation. Halfway, I think the final thing I think you mentioned to me off camera yesterday, you're in a pretty similar position last year at this stage as well, and got up, finished well.
Yeah, I think what we really think about is it's a very long year. We're only just gone halfway. We've completed our bye last week, so now we play every game up until hopefully a final series. So we're just looking to build each week as it comes, hopefully get a bit of luck with injuries and things go away, and you never know what's going to happen.
No, you don't. It is one of the more historic clubs in Tasmanian football as well. Did that draw you a little bit to make the move, or what was behind that if it wasn't to come up north?
Yeah, so obviously I didn't want to play TSL anymore. I played a little bit down south with Clarence Footy Club, but I just wanted to go to a real local footy club town. I haven't played for a town before, and to be honest, it's been a really exciting period of my life in football. The Longford community has really taken me in as one of their own, and I've really felt that. So I feel indebted to the club and the people around it. So hopefully somehow this year we can get back there on the last day and get it done.
It is an important club to the town, and they know how to celebrate. Take it from me, having probably the only sober one at your dinner because I had to host it. They certainly know how to party, but it was just deserved. A great result last year, and we wish you well for this year. Good to see you, Luke. Thanks for coming in.
Thanks, Vic. Thanks for having me.
That's Luke Murfitt-Cohen, one of the stars of the Longford Footy Club, and thanks to Harrison Agents. Back with another Club in Focus next week.
Durable, reliable, heavy duty. Get the power you need from the people who know machinery. For sales, parts, servicing and expert advice, call DLM Machinery today or visit dlmmachinery.com.au.
and welcome back to the NTFA Footy Show. Tonight we are joined by special guest and well-known footballer, Sophie Townsend. Sophie, thanks for joining us today, and how are you going?
Yeah, I'm going really well. Thanks for having me on the show.
No, that's a pleasure. So, Soph, over the past 8 years, you've been playing football for 8 years. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's correct. So
Yeah.
I started playing recognised competition with Devonport in 2015.
Fantastic. Now, you've also contributed to the women's TSL when the program was running, and you've been an NTFA representative. Now you're in your 3rd year at Meander. Tell us about that experience.
Yeah, it's been a really awesome experience coming back from TSL level. It was unfortunate that the women's comp was abandoned, but moving back to Meander Valley, it's an excellent club, one that has an amazing culture through both the men's and the women's program. So while, it was a disappointment to lose that competition, I'm probably happier and playing better footy with a club that's just so incredible.
And Sophie, I guess a lot of motivation this year. Grand finalists last year, put up a great show against South Launceston in that game. So how would you assess the season so far? You're on top of the ladder, undefeated, but obviously a thrilling game last week against a much improved Deloraine, which ended in a draw. But where do you see yourselves at the moment?
Yeah, it's really exciting seeing what the girls are doing this year. Like you said, coming off a really close grand final defeat, although disappointing, we were kind of off the mark with South at the beginning of the year. So to see us kind of really bridge that gap and come so close is a testament to the group. So to see them still kind of have that real fire to go one step further this year. Like you said, being undefeated, but with that comes a target on the back. So we are aware every week that the other teams are out to get us. So it's a nice feeling to have. It's grounding and humbling, but it is exciting to see what they're putting together this season.
That's brilliant, Soph. So this year you got the call up as the under-20s NTFA Rep Series assistant coach. How was that experience?
It was an amazing experience. Obviously being out this season, I've kind of been searching for what I can do to give back both at a local and, if possible, at other levels as well. So this opportunity came up through Louise with Mark. I was kind of shocked to be offered that position. I'd kind of just volunteered to be a runner or a water carrier. So to be given that opportunity was really exciting. I knew that I would enjoy coaching once I got to that stage, but probably like everyone else, I don't think I realised how much I would enjoy it. It was a really exciting experience, and hopefully it will lead for other things to come in the future. Obviously focused on getting back playing, but I think, I'm really excited to kind of continue to delve into that area of women's footy as well.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, Soph, whether that's inspired you to sort of, with what you've achieved in playing so far, and obviously more hopefully to achieve in your career, is that an area that you want to get into to coaching, particularly now that we're going to have our own pathway here in Tasmania, which will allow our best women to be able to make a career in their home state?
Yeah, absolutely. And it was something that I didn't really realise I would enjoy doing until I've kind of been thrown into it. But I am really enjoying it, and especially with the younger girls coming through, they have such an amazing opportunity in front of them, which there's probably a lot of us that are a bit older that are so excited for them, but wish we kind of had that opportunity at that age. So it's just an awesome kind of experience to be able to give back to those coming through and help mentor them. So very excited. Hopefully it opens up some more doors.
And just on that, Soph, how is the body tracking? Are you looking to make a return this year? I know you've had some injuries with your knee. Is that correct?
Yeah, so I had surgery 2 months ago, so 2 months post-op. Time is flying. Unfortunately, we won't be back this season, just the nature of the injury, too much of a risk to try and push to the back end. So I'm heavily rehabbing at the moment with Zach at ASPR, and we're hoping for a return round 1 next year. So very excited about that. It's good to have my goal kind of set on round 1 for next year to keep me on my toes, keep me on my rehab program. So
Fabulous. Well, look, Sophie, it's been great to have you with us. We thank you for joining us on the NTFA Footy Show. I know it's a big game for the team this week as well. Of course, I think Hillwood is up next. You've got that's going to be a big one. They're sitting in second place, so a lot to look forward to.
definitely, absolutely looking forward to it.
All right. Thanks very much for your time. Great to have you on the show.
Thanks, guys. Bye.
So Sophie Townsend, she's a great person. She's done so much for this for the competition already, hasn't she? And obviously, unfortunate that she's not going to be part of the comp for the rest of the year, but she'll obviously add a lot off the field.
It is very unfortunate. But look, she said she's making a return next year, so we look forward to that.
We do. All right. Before we go to a break, we're going to take a quick look at our ladders. And firstly, the Premier Division ladder, Abby, is starting to hot up a little bit here because particularly for your mob at OLs, there you go. You've jumped Old Scotch into second place on the ladder. Bridgenorth, of course, still the benchmark, but second, third have swapped. But it's so tight, isn't it? When you have a look at the ladder and you've got fourth, fifth and sixth separated by just percentage on the ladder. It's getting extremely tight in terms of that with South Launceston there fourth, but Scottsdale are the one for me. They're just starting to improve. We spoke about them a couple of weeks ago when they were right in it against Bridgenorth. So we might have a look at the games, Abby, coming up this weekend because there's some really crucial ones that are in the Premier Division, and there they are there tomorrow night. Geez, I'll tell you what, with the temperature outside today, won't they be looking forward to this one at Youngtown tomorrow night? South Launceston and Launceston up at Youngtown Oval, but that's a pretty important one for the Bulldogs.
Absolutely. So I believe whoever wins out of that game will gain higher on the ladder. Is that correct?
Yeah, well, they are only separated by percentage at the moment. So potentially fourth position on the line there. So that's a really important game tomorrow night, as it is for your team, Abby,
on
against
Saturday.
The Parrots, Bridgenorth, of course, the benchmark at the moment. We'll talk obviously have a bit of a preview of the state game coming up. You obviously won't be able to take up your position with OLs on the weekend, but Bridgenorth will be missing a few as well. So that's a really interesting one, given a few players will be out.
Absolutely. So first, second, big game. However, we have outs, they have outs. So it's going to come down to the fundamentals. We'll look forward to the game and hopefully the results go one way, but we can never look. Best of luck to both sides.
Yep, exactly. Well put. And Scottsdale take on Old Scotch Saturday at 10:25 in the morning. That's an important one for the Magpies. They are improving, and I reckon they'll test Scotch a little bit up there.
I agree. They got the win last week against Launceston as well. Launceston beat us, so you just don't know what's going to happen.
Pretty convincing win too in the end.
Absolutely.
So that should be a beauty up at Magpie Land.
Yes.
Let's have a quick look now at Division 1, and there is the ladder, and Sophie's team there, Meander Valley Suns on top. Now, there was a little bit of controversy I heard around this game with Meander and Deloraine, but in the end it was a draw between the two, and they're separated by Hillwood, and that was the first points that Meander have dropped for the season as well. And the big improvement now, Deloraine have beaten Hillwood, who are above them, and they've drawn with Meander Valley. They are the big improver this year, but Georgetown have moved into the top four as well, I think maybe for the first time this year. So that is starting to take a little bit of shape, is the Division 1. But interested to get your read on the games coming up. We've got Longford taking on the East Coast Swans. That will be at Longford on Saturday at 10:25. And then we've also got Meander playing Hillwood, as we mentioned, and Deloraine are playing Georgetown. So this game is on Friday night. That is down at Blue Gum Park in Georgetown. So that's a very important game for both teams as well, with the Saints trying to keep their spot in the top four.
Absolutely. And it could be anyone's game, looking at, there's only a few won and lost games between them all.
Absolutely. So plenty to look forward to. That's a wrap on what's coming up this weekend in the women's. Abby, great job. Good to see you again.
Thank you.
And I know we've got a big week next week as well on the show where we're going to have one of the Bridgenorth stars joining us.
We do look forward to that. She's very exciting and very passionate footballer.
All right. Thanks for that. Thanks to Clean Away. We'll be back in a moment.
Durable, reliable, heavy duty. Get the power you need from the people who know machinery. For sales, parts, servicing and expert advice, call DLM Machinery today or visit dlmmachinery.com.au.
Welcome back to the NTFA Footy Show. Now, just time to go through all the events that are coming up this weekend and in the near future as well, because there is plenty happening. We'll start off with the NTFA. Now, it is Ladies' Day at the Deloraine Football Club that's coming up this Saturday. It gets underway from 12:30 p.m. It's just $30. Of course, the Deloraine women are playing Friday night down at Georgetown. At $30 includes a grazing platter with Ashgrove cheese, magnificent, and there'll also be live music as well. Details are on the club Facebook page. So if you want to refer to that on how to buy tickets, and all the Deloraine teams as well will be wearing pink socks as part of a big fundraiser day. They're, of course, supporting the McGrath Foundation, doing great stuff. So well done to the Deloraine Footy Club. That should be a beauty. Now, the Bridport Football Club, well, they've got a big event coming up on the 22nd of July. They like their threes because they're going to be celebrating the 1973, 1993 and 2013 premierships. Now you can see some of the club team photos there that they've got at the club rooms, up at the magnificent club rooms of the Bridport Football Club. So if you want to get along to that one, all the details are on the Facebook page with contact numbers for each year. So Peter Rosendale for 93, Troy Milne for 2013, and Trevor Jessup is your man for the 1973 reunion. So please check out their Facebook page, or if you're up at the club, you can check out all the details there as well. And now, this Sunday, the 2nd of July, the East Coast Swans, they got a big day coming up. From 11:45 a.m, 16 people are going to be braving the ice for the MND Big Freeze, and there they all are. It's going to include the Mayor of Break of Day, Mick Tucker, will be there, East Coast Swans President Steve Wally. And you can still make donations to it, but there will be junior football happening on the day from 9:05 a.m. Again, all the details are up on the Facebook page there. But well done to the East Coast Swans, raising much needed funds for Fight MND and finding a cure for the hideous disease that it is. All right, Old Scotch Collegians Footy Club have got a trivia night coming up in just over a week on the 8th of July from 7 p.m. at the NTCA ground. You can jump on their Facebook page. They've got all the details there. Stack of prizes to be won as well. Or you can go to their website for tickets to be able to purchase them from there also. Now, want to pay, this is a great contribution. We all need our volunteers in football, and we want to single out someone this week, and that's Ian Stebbings from the Scottsdale Football Club. There he is. He is the statistician guru from the Northeast. He has just clocked up, get this, 35 years as the statistician for the Scottsdale Football Club. Absolutely incredible. And there's his worksheet that he uses every week. He does an amazing job. He's a ripping fella as well, Stebbo. Well done to you, mate, on 35 years with the Scottsdale Football Club. That is an enormous contribution. Now, we spoke a little earlier, of course, with Abby Green. She is going to be part of the Tasmanian team for the women. It is a big weekend coming up at North Hobart Oval this Saturday. The women's getting underway at 11:55. The men at 2 p.m. It's going to be, or 2:15 rather. It's going to be a great contest. Tasmania versus Queensland. State football should be a ripping day. So we hope that you can get along to that and support our Tasmanian teams. A massive congratulations. You can see on the NTFA Facebook page as well, all the men's. So we got Jordan Cousins there from Rochalee. Great to see him. He'll be lining up on the wing for Tasmania on the weekend. So that is big congratulations. He's a great player, Jordan Cousins from the Rochalee Football Club, and our women's team as well. You can see there we've got a number of players. Deanne Taylor from Scottsdale as part of it as well. And we've got plenty of other as well. Eliza Matthews from Old Scotch. We've got Alice Robinson from Bridge North. And Abby Green, of course, there in the forward line also. And Jen Guy from Old Launcestonians. And there you can see on the bench as well, we've got Dunn and also Jenna Griffiths will be joining us on the show next week as well. So great representation from the north for our Tasmanian team. So huge congratulations. Of course, they all did very well in the recent rep series against the SFL and NWFL. And just finally, we've mentioned this a few times on the show, but it's an important one to remind people about because this is a historic event coming up. The Tasmanian State of Origin team reunion, the 1990, famous 1990 team that defeated Victoria. 33 years later, we got the big reunion coming up. Amazing guest speakers, including Victorian coach and also the captain from then, David Parkin and Gary Ayres. There'll be Robert Shaw, of course, the coach from Tasmania, and Darren Pritchard, of course, Hawthorn champion. And they'll be there, $100 plus the booking fee. That's all it is. It'll include a buffet meal and a couple of hours of drinks. Details there and on the Relive the Rivalry Facebook page on how you can get tickets. So make sure you get in because there's only there's actually not that many left available. So please get in quick. That brings you up to speed. It's been a big show on the NTFA Footy Show. We do thank DLM Machinery, of course, and we've got an even bigger show coming up next week. Make sure you stay tuned, share the show, and we'd love to see your company next week. With thanks once again to DLM Machinery.